Why don't we start in child's pose this morning? I don't have much room on my mat to do that, but if that feels okay for your knees and your ankles and the tops of your feet, let's take either knees close together or knees wide apart, big toes touching, let the tailbone sink back towards the heels, and then allow your forehead to rest down, whether that's on a cushion or a folded up blanket or stacked palms or the floor. And take your time to get comfy here. So really honor where your body's at today. And if this doesn't feel like a good place for tops of the feet or ankles or knees or hips right now, then you're welcome to take whatever posture does feel good for your body. Or perhaps grab a folded up blanket or a cushion and take it in between your seat and your heels so that you have a little bit more space for your knees. And as the breath deepens, really start to think about your inhalation, expanding your lower back and your lower abdomen. And your exhalation, softening the body so that you can sink into the floor. And each deep breath in, expanding lower back, lower abdomen. Each exhale, inviting the body to be supported by the floor, softening into the mat. Feeling free to adjust your posture at any time. Listen to your knees, listen to your hips. Let's take a few more really deep breaths here into the low back, starting to open up through those muscles. And then extending your palms out in front of you. Take your hands shoulder width apart, fingers spread wide. And with a breath in, let's come up to our hands and our knees. Taking the wrists under the shoulders, walk your knees underneath your hips. You can place the tops of your feet on the floor, but you could also tuck through your toes. And then with a long breath out, let's round through the spine, lifting the back towards the ceiling, draw the chin in towards the chest. And with a big breath in, lift your tailbone, lift your chest, lift your gaze, extending through your spine. Nice long exhale, rounding the back, lifting the spine towards the ceiling, pushing the floor away from you with your palms. And inhaling, extending through the spine, letting the belly drop towards the mat as the gaze lifts up. And you keep following your breath through this movement. And you're welcome to start to connect your Ujjayi breath, gentle narrowing of the back of the throat that creates an ocean sound as you breathe. The next time you exhale, let's keep the spine rounded, drawing the chin in towards the chest, pushing the floor away from you with your palms. You can stay here or walk your hands closer to your knees, press up onto your fingertips, lift your mid and upper back towards the sky, and take a few breaths here. As you inhale, walking yourself forward, coming back to a neutral spine. You might need to back up on your mat a little bit so you have a little more space out in front of you. Stack your hips over top of your knees, and then contract your abdominal muscles. Step your palms way out in front of you, placing your hands shoulder width apart. Keep the navel drawing in towards the spine. As you exhale, let your chest and your head sink. Let's try to keep drawing the front of the rib cage in, so rather than just dropping the belly and the ribs hanging in our shoulders, we're going to stay a little bit engaged here. Front ribs hug in, navel to spine. You can have your ears in between your upper arm bones, or your head can hang down. If this feels like too much for your shoulders, feel free to take child's pose instead. As long as your body feels okay here, sink down into the knuckles of your hands and then breathe really deeply into the sides of your rib cage. Engaging through your core as you inhale, press yourself back up to your hands and your knees. Let's take our knees wider than our hips, lay the tops of the feet on the floor, big toes touching. Slowly sink your tailbone back towards your heels, keeping your chest lifted here. And from here, I want you to weave your right arm underneath you, letting it slide over towards the left. You can walk your left hand forward and then either take your forehead down or perhaps your right cheek down. Letting the shoulders sink towards the floor as we open up through that right shoulder and the upper back. You can always add some support underneath your forehead or your cheek. Grab a folded up blanket if you need to. And drawing your left palm in a little closer to support you, let's inhale, lifting again through the chest. Planting your right hand on the floor, we'll weave our left arm underneath us. So that right hand can slide forward as the chest sinks. You can touch your forehead down or your cheek down. And then breathe into wherever you feel tension. Drawing your right palm in a little closer, press into that hand as you inhale. Lift your chest so you can release your left arm. Stretch both palms out in front of you, and then breathing out, let your chest and your head sink into your child's pose. Lifting your gaze, look to the top of your mat, engage your core. Inhale, draw chin and chest between the palms. Carefully come onto your abdomen. Reach your legs back behind you, tops of the feet on the floor. From here, I want you to extend your right arm out at shoulder height, palm facing down on the ground. Touch your right cheek down onto your mat. And then place your left fingertips on the floor, left elbow points up. Bend your left knee, point your left toes up. And then nice and slow, keeping your right arm in line with your shoulder, use your inhale to slowly roll towards the right. You can either stack one leg on top of the other, or step your left toes back behind you, point your left knee up towards the ceiling. And then let that right palm, arm, shoulder, and cheek sink down into the ground. Depending on how your body feels, you may stay here, or you could draw your left hand to your lower back. If that feels good, breath is steady, you could reach your left hand up into the air, let the back of the palm fall away from you. You slowly return your left hand to the floor, and then carefully roll back to the center. Stretching your legs back behind you. You may roll your shoulders, rock your hips side to side. Might feel nice to touch your forehead down and just roll your forehead side to side. Loosen up whatever tension you feel in your body. And then let's extend our left arm out at shoulder height, palm facing down. Touch the left cheek to the mat. Right fingertips on the floor, right elbow points up. And then bend your right knee, right toes point up. Keep your left arm in line with your shoulder, nice and slow as you inhale. Roll towards the left only as far as feels safe for your body. You can stack your legs here, one on top of the other, or step your right toes behind you, right knee points up. Noticing how your body feels here. Let your neck soften, let your cheeks sink into the ground. If you want to deepen this, you can take your right hand to your lower back. If that feels good, your breath is slow and steady. That right arm can extend upwards, back of the hand falling behind you. Taking deep breaths as you open up through the shoulders and across the chest. And slowly return our right hand to the floor to support us. Carefully roll back to the center. Lengthen the legs behind you and move your body in any way that feels good. And then lay the tops of your feet on the floor, big toes touching. Engage through your abdominal muscles as you inhale. Lift your chest slightly and bring your forearms forward for Sphinx pose. Keeping your elbows and palms shoulder width apart. If your lower back feels like this is too much, I want you to slide your elbows further forward and away from your hip bones. If you want a deeper back bend, tuck those elbows in closer to the pelvis. And then contract through your core. Inhale, chest reaches forward and up. Think of your shoulder blades gently hugging in and drawing down the back. Collarbones are broad here, and you can gaze down at the floor, up towards the ceiling. Keep your throat relaxed. And then deepen your breath. See if you can feel your abdomen expanding towards the floor each time you breathe in. Try to soften your legs, let the tops of the feet sink into the mat. Let's take one more inhale, engaging through the core as you lift your chest up. Use your exhale to slide your elbows to the sides, lowering down. You can touch your forehead down, rock your hips from side to side. And then take your hands underneath your shoulders. Contract your abdominal muscles. Inhale, press up to your hands and your knees. From here, let's take our knees and our feet wider than our hips. Okay, so moving slowly, making sure this feels okay for your body. We'll tuck the toes under and slowly walk ourselves back into a squat. So coming onto the balls of the feet, let the knees lift. Turn your heels in and your toes out slightly. Maybe add some height under your heels to support you, or keep your fingertips touching down. Lift up through your chest as you lengthen your spine. Okay, if this doesn't feel good for your joints today, I want you to come straight into a forward fold, feet hip width and parallel, upper body hanging down. If you're in your squat, make sure your knees and your toes are pointing in the same direction. We don't want our knees collapsing in past our big toes here. Let them open up towards the pinky toes. And then draw your breath down into your low back. Let those muscles expand. From here, as you exhale, release the fingertips to the floor in front of you. Let's slowly lower the head as we lift the tailbone up, walking your feet until they're hip width and parallel, coming to a forward fold. You're welcome to deeply bend your knees, especially if your lower back feels tender today. Soften your neck. Let your arms hang. And keep that breath flowing right down into the bottom of the lungs. If your neck is holding onto tension, it might feel nice here to just nod your head yes and no. With the hands hanging down towards the floor, draw your chin in towards your chest, and then contract through your core. Inhale and slowly roll yourself up to standing. You're welcome to walk your hands up your legs to support you. We'll lift the head up last. And then take a few big rolls of the shoulders back and down. With your feet hip width apart and parallel, spread out through your toes. And then relax your arms alongside your body as you lift up through your chest. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. Invite your attention into your body and just notice whatever sensations you can feel. Letting the breath deepen as if we're breathing into all four sides of the rib cage, letting the ribs expand in all directions. Let's press our palms to the outsides of the thighs. Think of your shoulder blades gently hugging in and drawing down the back, chest open. Hug your navel towards your spine. Take an inhale, lift the crown of your head up. And then as you exhale, slide your right hand down your right leg. Think of the left side of your rib cage lifting up towards the ceiling. Press down into your left foot. You can stay here. Inhale, slowly draw your left hand up onto your shoulder, fingertips in front, thumb behind, pointing your left elbow up towards the sky. You're feeling that length grow on the left side of the body. You can stay here or slowly extend your arm alongside your ear. Notice if you're twisting, so maybe one shoulder's coming more forward than the other, and see if you can square yourself. And also notice if you're pressing the front of the rib cage forward, and see if you can hug the front ribs in a little bit to deepen that side bend. And keep your core engaged to support you. Let's inhale, come to the center. As you exhale, slowly lower your arm down. Give your shoulders a nice big roll. And then press your palms against the outsides of the thighs. Find that little hug of the shoulder blades in and down, chest broadens. Take a deep breath in, crown of the head lifts up. With your core engaged, exhale, slide your left hand down your left leg. Pressing into your right foot. You can stay here, you can inhale, slowly draw your right hand up onto your shoulder, right elbow points up towards the sky, feeling that side body lengthen a little bit more. Squaring through your shoulders here, hugging front ribs in here. And then you can stay here, slowly extend that arm alongside your ear. You notice how your neck feels. You're welcome to turn your gaze down if that feels better. Let your breath fill up the right side of the body. And you contract through your core. Inhale, come to center. As you exhale, lower your right arm. A big roll of your shoulders back and down. Balancing your weight evenly between your feet. Tiny little micro bend in your knees. Let's inhale with the sternum up towards the sky. With your core engaged, exhale, chin towards the chest. Let's pause here for a couple of breaths. You're welcome to hold here, chin in the center of the chest, or take an inhale, roll your chin over towards your right shoulder. And as you exhale, take your chin down towards the center of your chest. And we'll inhale over towards the left shoulder. And exhale to the center of the chest. If that feels good, you can move side to side a few more times, letting your breath guide you. Moving within a range of motion that feels safe for your body. Next time you find your chin in the center of your chest, I want you to pause there. Make sure there's some softness in your knee joints. Hug your navel back towards your spine. Relax your arms. As you exhale, let's unstack our spine and roll all the way down to a forward fold. You can always walk your hands down your legs if your body needs a little more support. And try to use your pelvic floor to support you rather than engaging all through the back of the legs and through the glutes. See if you can pull your navel back towards your spine and let that control your movement. You bend your knees as much as you need to here so your lower back feels safe in your forward fold. Allow the crown of the head to hang heavily towards the floor as the tailbone tips up towards the sky. You might hold one elbow with each palm here, see how that feels. Or you could reach your hands up to your lower back and interlace your fingers. Your palms can rest on your sacrum, or your arms could extend. So taking full breaths as we open up through the chest, the shoulders, and the upper back. If you want to deepen this, if you're in Yoga Mudra, fingers interlaced, you can start to draw the palms of the hands towards one another. And with an exhale, release your hands to your lower back. Slide your palms on the backs of your legs, taking your hands all the way down in front of you. Bend your knees enough that your palms connect to the floor. And then spread your fingers wide, engage your core. Inhale, slowly walk your hands forward. Let's come to downward dog. So create a nice long distance between your hands and your feet, and then lift your tailbone up towards the ceiling and lengthen your spine. If you're not sure about that distance for your down dog, you can always check by engaging your core, inhaling and coming forward to plank pose for a moment. You should need to move your hands and your feet for your shoulders to be over your wrists and your legs to be long. Okay, so that's your down dog distance. You can take your hips up towards the sky, let your chest sink towards your thighs. Maintain that slow, steady breath. You contract your abdominal muscles as you inhale. Take a big step forward with your right foot. Help your right foot forward till your right knee is over your ankle. And then lower your left heel down to the mat. I want your left toes turned in deeply. With your palms on your hips, engage your core. Inhale, reach your chest forward and up, coming to warrior one. So turn your abdomen and chest to face the top of your mat. And then think of your rib cage coming over your pelvis as you press your back heel down into the floor and lift up through your sternum. And we can hold here, or let's cross our left arm over our right arm. Palms can wrap around, shoulder blades spreading. Or you can take the backs of the hands or the palms together in eagle arms. You reach your elbows forward and up as your shoulder blades draw down towards the mat. And make sure you keep your chin parallel to the floor. Keep pressing down into your left heel. And with an exhale, release your arms. Let's take our hands onto our hips. As you inhale, extend your front leg. Okay, we want to square our hips to the top of the mat. So if you need to, bring your back foot in a little closer and turn your toes in more so your hips can square to the top of your mat. And then press down into the ball of your right foot. Engage your right leg to support your knee. Lift up through your chest. Okay. We're going to take our arms behind us. You can hold onto your wrists, your forearms, or your elbows. I want you to draw your shoulders back and down, collarbones broad. We're going to inhale and extend a little through the spine so you can find a little bit of an arc here as you lift up and lengthen. Take a big breath in. And then we want to keep that shape as we exhale, hinge from the hips and come forward. And I want you to just come to the place where your spine stays long. So as soon as your back starts to round, shoulders round, you're too low. We're going to lift back up, reach up through the chest and the crown of the head. Keep the neck long. And then press into the ball of your right foot, draw your right hip back, left hip forward. If this feels like too much, you're welcome to take your hands onto your front thigh or maybe to a chair or some books or blocks if you have them. You take a couple big breaths here. Keep drawing your navel towards your spine. Chest stays nice and open. Let's contract through the core. Inhale, chest reaches forward and up. As you exhale, you can release your arms. Let's bend our front knee over our ankle. Lower your palms down to the floor, lifting up through your back heel. Engage your core. Inhale, right foot steps back. Come to downward dog. You can also take yourself to child's pose. So listen to your body. Take yourself to the place where your breath is steady. From here, contract your abdominal muscles. Nice big inhale. We'll step our left foot forward. The left knee over the ankle. We'll lower our right heel to the floor, turning those right toes in deeply. And with palms to hips, engage your core. Inhale, chest forward and up. And turning the belly to face the top of the mat. Drawing your ribs over your hips so you have a nice strong core, long low back. And pressing down into your right heel as you lift up through your sternum. You can stay here, palms on hips, or cross right arm over left arm. Palms can wrap to the upper back, or we'll intertwine through the arms. And then I want you to reach your elbows forward and up, and at the same time, draw your shoulder blades down so you get that nice opening across the upper back. Back of the neck is long, nice slow, steady breaths. And breathing out, arms released. Hands come onto the hips. You can extend your front leg and we'll square our hips forward. So shorten your stance if you need to. Turn your right toes in deeper if you need to. Make sure that right heel's on the floor, hips facing the top edge of the mat. And then press into the ball of your left foot and engage your leg muscles to support your knee. Okay, from here, hands can stay on hips, or we'll sweep our hands behind us, holding wrists or forearms or elbows, drawing the shoulders back and down, let the collarbones broaden. And then engage your core. Inhale, chest lifts up, spine extends. As you exhale, hinge from your hips and slowly come forward. It doesn't have to be far. You can pause right here. Tiny little movement. And then we square through our hips. We bring left hip back, right hip forward. Back of the neck is long, lower jaw relaxed. Making sure that you pause in a place where your spine is long. You're not rounding your shoulders forward or rounding your back. Pressing into the ball of your left foot. And then engage your core. Inhale, forward and up. Okay, exhale, arms release. We'll bend our front knee over our ankle, lowering the palms down to the floor. Spread your fingers wide, lift your back heel up. Inhale, left foot steps back, come back to down dog or straight to child's pose. If you're in downward dog, feet hip width apart and parallel. And we'll spread out through the fingers and the toes, lifting up through the hips as we lengthen through the spine. From downward dog, engage your core. We'll inhale, lift the heels up high, shift a little more weight towards your palms. And as you exhale, touch your knees down to the mat, lay the tops of the feet on the floor, big toes touching. Let's take tailbone to heels and return to child's pose. So you're welcome to rest your shoulders, taking your hands back beside your feet. And your knees can stay narrow or they can go wide apart. So you make your body as comfy as you can here. And then slow down your breath and let each inhalation expand the sides of the rib cage and the lower back. Next time you inhale, extend your palms out in front of you, gazing to the top of your mat. Let's carefully come onto the abdomen. Stretching your legs back behind you, I want you to stretch your right arm forward and then roll onto your right side. So we're using our right arm as a pillow. If your neck needs more support, you could tuck a cushion in between your upper arm and your ear. And then with the legs long, let's stack through the hips, the knees, and the feet. From here, I want you to bend your bottom knee. So right knee bends. And then we're going to reach our top hand, which is our left hand, back towards our foot. If that connection is easy, hold on to your foot. If it doesn't feel good for your shoulder or your knee, just let your arm hang behind you and allow your knee to bend. And then keeping your hips stacked, I want you to slowly slide your left foot further out in front of you until you start to feel some length down the outside of that left leg, making sure that your hips don't rock forward and back. We're going to keep them one on top of the other. And then nice and slow, you can start to deepen this twist, letting that top shoulder roll back. You might reach a point where you slide that right arm out from underneath you. Your head might need extra support, so perhaps you grab a cushion or folded up blanket for underneath your head. But each time you exhale, I want you to just let that left arm get heavy, left shoulder get heavy. Allow your chest to roll open towards the ceiling. And at the same time, keep your hips stacked one on top of the other. If you're holding onto your foot, you stay there as long as it feels okay for your body, but if your knee starts to get aggravated, you just release your foot. Let your knee bend, let your arm be heavy. Taking long, deep breaths as we open up across the chest and twist through the spine. Stretch through the front of the right thigh and the outside of the left leg. If you have a hold of your foot, let it go. And then let's slowly roll back onto the abdomen. Once you're back in the center, loosen up your neck, your shoulders, your lower back, making whatever little movements your body needs. And then we'll extend our left arm forward and roll onto our left side. So left arm is supporting the head. We'll stack the hips, the knees, and the feet. And then from here, I want you to bend your bottom knee. The left knee bends, and we'll reach our right hand back towards our foot, only making that connection if it feels safe for your joints. Keeping your hips stacked, start to slowly slide your right foot further out in front of you. Doesn't need to be far, just to where you start to feel some lengthening down the outside of the hip or the outside of the leg. You're still keeping the hips stacked one on top of the other. You might stay right here, or as you breathe out, you might find that your right shoulder starts to sink back. Maybe that left arm stretches out. Add more support under your head if your neck needs it. Focusing on hips staying stacked as you twist through your spine, letting your chest open up towards the sky. Feel free to release your foot at any time. Nice deep breaths here. Let that breath travel into wherever you feel tension in your body. And each time you exhale, let some of that tension soften. And releasing your foot. Let's slowly roll back onto the abdomen. Legs stretching back behind you, letting your body move in any way that feels good. And just slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Contract through your core. Inhale, come up to your hands and your knees. And from here, I want you to bring your knees and your feet hip width apart. And then we're going to slowly walk ourselves up so that we're kneeling. So feel free to add extra cushioning underneath your knees if that feels better. And then you can either press the tops of the feet into the floor, or you may tuck your toes and reach your heels back behind you. So find what feels good. If you did have a block at home or a cushion, you could take that in between your thighs so you have something to squeeze into to remind you to engage. If you don't have that, that's fine. We're just going to engage through the fronts of the thighs and pull the navel in towards the spine. I want you to take your hands behind you, place them on your lower back. So your fingertips are pointing down and your pinky fingers are touching slightly. And you can think of your hands pressing in and down gently as if you're lengthening your low back. So you're encouraging your tailbone to draw down, that lower back to lengthen as you hug your navel in. And then we're going to roll our shoulders back, chest open, hug the elbows towards one another. As you inhale, lift the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Front ribs are hugging in, navel's hugging in. So we have a nice long spine here. This might feel like enough today. You can keep your gaze forward. Just breathe here. Let your chest open. If you want to deepen this, wrists, elbows, shoulders, and spine all feel good. Strong core supporting you. Take an inhale, lift up. And then as you exhale, slowly arc back. And you can think of your hip bones pressing forward, long low back. Gaze can stay forward here, but if it feels safe for your body, your head could go all the way back, soft lower jaw. And you're taking nice big breaths wherever you're at, coming out of this anytime you need to. This should feel long through the back body. So if it feels crunchy or compressed, don't go so deep. Soften your facial muscles. Keep engaging through the legs and the core. Let's take an inhale, draw the gaze forward, stack through the spine. We're going to release our hands down to the floor in front of us, wrists slightly ahead of the shoulders, toes tucked under. Keep your core engaged. Inhale, lift up to downward dog. And then let your body move in any way that feels good here. From there, as you inhale, I want you to walk your feet towards your palms and come to a forward fold. Feet are hip width apart, as much of a bend in your knees as you need. You could hold your elbows with your palms or hold on to the backs of your legs. Soften your neck. Notice the sound of your breath here. Let it slow down and deepen. And releasing your hands towards the floor, chin drawing in towards the chest. Contract through your core, inhale and roll yourself up to standing. Your head lifts up last. And then big roll of the shoulders back and down. Coming to mountain pose, feet hip width apart. Balance your weight evenly between your feet and then lengthen your spine. Keeping your breath slow and steady. Let's find one spot to focus on, whether it's the floor, somewhere on the floor or the wall in front of you. With your core engaged, I want you to inhale, lift your right knee up in front of you. Flex your ankle. Make sure you're not pressing your pelvis forward with your thigh. We want to just hinge from that hip. Let the knee lift up. You can stay here, or you can take your hands together in front of your chest. If that feels good, you might inhale and extend your arms up over your head, soft shoulders. You can stay here, keeping your hips facing forward. Use your exhale, twist your upper body to the right. Open your arms up from your shoulders, thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. Keep lifting up through the crown of your head. Slow, steady breath. You'll inhale, arms reach up. Turn the torso to face forward. Touch your palms. Exhale, bring your hands down. And then lower your foot down. And let go of any tension in your body. Returning to mountain pose. Notice your breath. And then find one spot to focus your gaze on. Draw navel to spine. We'll inhale, lift the left knee up, hinging from the hip. Flex the ankle. Stay here, or place your palms together in front of your chest. Lift your chest up, crown of the head up. Hold there, or inhale, arms extend, shoulders at ease. Stay here, or keep your hips squared forward. Exhale, twist your spine to the left. Arms open out at shoulder height, thumbs pointing towards the ceiling. Think of shoulder blades gently hugging towards one another as the collarbones broaden. If you feel super adventurous, you might gaze back towards your left thumb. We'll inhale, arms reach up, facing forward. Palms come together. Exhale, draw the hands down, and then touch your foot down. Shake away tension from the body. Coming back to mountain pose at the top of your mat. Little micro bend in your knees. Inhale, sternum lifts up. Engage your core. Exhale, chin to chest. Slowly unstack your spine. Once you've come all the way down into your forward fold, you can hold on to your elbows or the backs of your legs. You can reach your hands up to your lower back, interlace your fingers, and come back to Yoga Mudra. Let's take an exhale, releasing our hands all the way down in front of us. Touching fingertips down to the floor. You're welcome to come straight to sitting if that's safest for your joints, or walk your feet wider than your hips. Turn your heels in, toes out slightly. Carefully lower down into a squat. Your heels lift, add some support. Grab a blanket or a cushion to place under your heels. Make sure your knees are opening out towards your pinky toes. Okay, fingertips can remain on the floor, or you can touch your palms together. And then let the shoulders draw down away from the ears as you lift up through your chest. Riding the breath down into the bottom of the lungs. You come out of this anytime you need to. With the help of your palms, gently make your way down to sitting on your mat. Stretch your legs out in front of you and give them a little shake. And from here, let's slide our right foot off to the side and bring our left heel in towards our pelvis. Feel free to add some support into your left knee if that feels better for your joint. I want you to balance your weight on your sits bones, so have a little rock side to side. If you need to, plant down evenly through the pelvis, and then point your right toes up towards the ceiling. Okay, we're going to turn our spine towards our left thigh. Rest your right hand on your right leg, left hand on your hip. And then start with the breath in, lift up, lengthen both sides of your torso. And as you exhale, slowly slide your right hand down your leg, keeping your chest open towards the ceiling and your left thigh bone heavy. So we don't want to rock our whole body over to the right. I'm going to stay grounded through the pelvis, heavy through that left thigh bone. And then you can stay here, hand on hip, or you can inhale and extend your left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Okay, adjust your gaze to suit your neck. Now you can stay still here, or you can find a little bit of movement with me. So if you want to move, we're going to lower our left arm down. And then with an inhale, I want you to sweep your left arm forward over your mat. Reach out towards your toes, really lengthen that side of the body, and then let your chest open up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, complete that circle, taking the arm all the way down. If that feels good, you can inhale, arm reaches forward, and then out towards your toes. Keep your left thigh bone heavy as your chest opens up. Use your exhale, lower that arm down. Okay. Continuing this, if it feels nice, following your breath. Adjusting the size of those rotations so your shoulder doesn't feel any pain. If you're making those rotations, let's do that one more time. Next time you find your left arm alongside your body, let's just pause there. Engage through the core. We'll inhale and draw our torso all the way up. You turn your face forward. You can give your shoulders a roll. And then I want you to stretch your left leg out to the side and bring your right heel in. Have a little rock on your pelvis if you need to, grounding down through your sits bones. Flexing your left ankle so toes point upwards. And from here, twist your spine towards your right knee. Take your left hand on your left leg, right hand on your hip. Inhale, both sides of the torso lengthen. As you exhale, slide your left hand down your leg, only sliding down as far as you can. Also keep your chest open towards the ceiling. Stay here, inhale, right arm reaches up. And we're gonna let that right thigh bone sink down towards the floor. Stay grounded through your pelvis. You're welcome to hold here. If you want to find that movement, we'll lower our right arm down. And then take an inhale, sweep the right arm forward, over the mat, out towards your toes. And then open your chest up as you exhale, complete that rotation, letting the arm relax down. Only continuing this if it feels safe for your shoulder. You move within a range of motion that suits your body. And try to sync up your movement and your breath. If you're making those rotations, let's do one more. Next time you find your right arm resting alongside your body, I want you to just pause there. And we'll contract through the core and inhale, letting the torso draw all the way up. Turn your face forward, big roll of your shoulders. Now let's stretch both legs forward in front of us and give them a shake. Feel free to sit up on the edge of a folded up blanket or a cushion or a block. Let's take our legs hip width apart and point all 10 toes up towards the sky. You can plant your palms down beside you, a little hug of the shoulder blades towards one another as you lift up through your chest. If you find your spine rounding here, your tailbone tucking under, I encourage you to bend the knees enough that you can lift up onto your sits bones and really lengthen through your spine. And from here, inhale, reach your fingertips up over your head, engage through your core. As you exhale, hinge from your hips. Coming forward, you can let your back round if that feels good. We'll take our hands either onto the legs or on either side of the legs and soften the neck. I want you to try to connect to that sensation of the tailbone untucking, hip bones tipping forward. If you feel like you're not finding that tilt through the pelvis, you're welcome to keep that bend in your knees. And with your gaze soft, your eyes closed, I want you to focus on your breath. And imagine your breath drawing down into your lower back as you breathe in. And then let your body soften as you breathe out. You're doing your best to keep your toes pointing up towards the sky. Let's take one more long exhale here. Engage your abdominal muscles as you inhale. Slowly roll yourself back up. And once your head lifts up, roll your shoulders. And then from here, I want you to carefully come down onto your back. And we're going to hug our knees into our chest. With your hands resting onto your legs, you can rock from side to side. And bringing your legs to the middle. Let's slowly lower the feet down to the floor. Place your feet hip width apart, heels underneath your knees, and then bring your arms close to your body, palms facing down on the floor. And lengthen through the back of your neck. As you exhale, press your lower back into your mat. Contract through your core, pressing into your feet. Inhale, slowly peel up through your spine. Start at your tailbone, lifting one vertebra at a time. Think of your shins reaching forward as your hip bones lift. Sink down into the backs of the arms, the palms of the hands. Keep your head in the center. Use your breath to lift the abdomen up as you inhale. Let your belly button sink back towards your spine as you exhale. And keep your big toes pressing down into the floor. One more inhale here. Lift the hip bones up. With your core engaged as you exhale, slowly roll your spine back down to your mat. And once you've come all the way down, I want you to bring your right knee in towards your chest. Rest your hands on your right knee and slowly stretch your left leg all the way out. Flex your ankles, toes pointing up towards the sky. Take a deep breath in. Engage your core. Exhale, lift your forehead towards your knee. If your neck has tension, one hand behind your head here. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. Draw your navel towards your spine. Keep your toes pointing up towards the ceiling. And with an exhale, return your head to the floor. And with your left palm on your knee, extend your right arm out at shoulder height, right palm facing down. Start with a deep breath in. Engage your abdominals as you exhale. Draw your knee over to the left and stack your hips. Okay, so right hip on top of left hip. Your top foot can rest on your bottom leg, or you could rest it on a cushion or a blanket or down to the floor, but make sure it's supported. And then keep both shoulder blades sinking down into the mat. Chest is open towards the ceiling. Anytime you want to deepen this, you can slide your top heel a little further away from you. Into your breath, move right down into your low back, into that right hip. As you breathe out, release tension. Your left palm supports your knee. Engage your core. Inhale, return your knee to center. And then let's squeeze both knees into the chest. Rock from side to side. With your legs in the middle, we'll quietly lower our feet back down to the floor. Place them hip width apart. Spread out through your toes. And then bring your arms close to your body, palms facing down. As you exhale, lower back sinks into the floor. Engage your core. Inhale, move with control, nice and slow. Lift up through your tailbone, peel up through your spine. You lift just as high as feels safe for your body. Big toes press into the earth, shins reach forward, hip bones lift up, let your sternum be heavy. You can stay here or tuck your shoulder blades closer together, interlace your fingers, knuckles of your hands reach towards your heels. You can come out of this anytime you need to, only stay here as long as your breath is deep. Engage your core, inhale, lift up through the hips, release your hands, palms flat on the floor, exhale, slowly roll your spine down. Once the full length of your spine is back on the floor, we'll invite the left knee in, palms on the left knee. Stretch your right leg all the way out. Flex your ankles and then fill up your lungs. Engage your abdominal muscles. Exhale, forehead towards the knee. You can support your head with a palm if you need to. Soft shoulders. Reach your heels away from your toes, pointing up towards the sky. Exhale, return your head to the mat. Your right palm on your left knee, left arm extends out at shoulder height. Take a deep breath. With your core engaged, exhale, bring your knee over to the right. Stack one hip on top of the other and make sure that top foot is supported, whether it's your bottom leg or a cushion or the floor. Both shoulders sinking heavily into the mat. And let your breath move into where you feel tension, making a little more space. And as you exhale, soften. Your right palm supports the left knee. Draw navel to spine. Inhale. Take your knee to center. And then invite both knees into the chest. Have it one more rock from side to side. And you're welcome to make any other little movements that your body needs. And then I want you to find sweaters, socks, a blanket. And we're going to stretch yourselves out for our relaxation. Once you grab your warm things, you can lay on your back. I want you to take your feet as wide or wider than your mat. Let your toes fall out to the sides as you soften your hips. Your arms can be wide, palms facing the sky, or you could take your hands onto your belly. If your neck has any lingering tension, nice slow rock of the head side to side might feel good. When your head comes back to the center, gentle draw of the chin towards the chest, lengthen the back of the neck. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Invite your attention into your body. If there's anywhere that you still feel some tension or some effort that you're making, use your next few exhalations to invite that to let go. And let the weight of the body sink into the mat. And let your breath move at a natural pace. And enjoy this time to be still. Invite your attention back to your breath. And begin to slowly move your body. And let those little movements grow into bigger movements. And carefully roll yourself over to one side. And gently press up, coming to a comfortable seated position. Once you're sitting comfortably, you're welcome to touch your palms together in front of your chest. And close your eyes or soften your gaze. And be still here for a moment and just notice the sensation of your breath as it moves in and out. Namaste.